And good day, all of you. John Henderson Pierre, the Beverage Ramble and Chats, back again with you. Another Beverage Ramble edition today. PBR, yes, old school PBR, being brewed in St. Louis, Missouri. As you can probably see right there. Of course, this is a legendary beer. Of course, introduced in 1893. Was established in Milwaukee in 1844. Selected as America's Best in 1893. There was a period where PBR and Schlitz were probably the two more popular beers at the time, and also Budweiser as well. But Budweiser kind of overlapped that, and of course PBR went through some changes back in the 80s and went through some financial difficulties. And I remember growing up in Jersey, there was a PBR brewery right off of South Orange Avenue in Newark, and I remember that brewery closed down. I remember we were driving on the highway and I would see it, but a lot has changed. But now the brewery's back. There was a bigger revival of the beer and of the company back in late 90s. People were buying PBR and checking them out. Sort of had a revitalization, retro beers again. And PBR started doing very well sales-wise. But the beer was being produced in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, of course, throughout all of his ownership. But also a lot of these beer companies, as you all know, sometimes they can't always make all of their beers in that facility. Sometimes they have to contract it out to another brewery for them to brew their beer. So not only being brewed in Milwaukee, and I believe also San Antonio, and also might be Memphis, Tennessee. No, San Antonio, also part of Los Angeles, but still under the PBR name. But a couple of years ago, a year or so ago, I believe, there was a dispute between Miller and PBR because Miller was brewing some of their beers for them. They felt that the quality and some of the production was lacking and a bunch of other things. Miller disagreed. Molson Coors, now Miller Brewing Company, now Molson Coors. They kind of disagreed because they felt, hey, we got to take care of our stuff first before we get to you. So there was some dispute, whatever, then a lawsuit. Then that got settled out of court. Now the brew started being brewed up in City Brewing, which is known to do a lot of contract brews for a lot of different companies. But Pabst said, no, we can't do that because we part own that brewery as well. Whatever percentage that Pabst owns City Brewing. So now, even though they still produce some of their beers at a couple other facilities, now they're producing their beer, Pabst, at AB-InBev brewery in St. Louis. Which, again, I'm going to let this be known right now for all you. Anheuser-Busch InBev does not own PBR. They brew the beer, but they don't own it. This happens a lot. City Brewing does contract brewing for Sam Adams beers, Boston Beer Company, Guinness, Blonde Ale. I don't know if they still make that, which I haven't seen a lot of that around anyway. Even Yuengling would brew some of their stuff at AB-InBev or some of the facilities. So people got to make sure, what's up, because again, certain facilities they can't brew a lot of beers at capacity. Case in point, right now, Brooklyn Brewery, they're brewing their beers at FX Matt Brewery up in Utica, New York. Of course, the people behind Saranac Beer, also Utica Club Light. So now people are saying, well, when this happens, do they change the taste? Does the beer change? Now, some reviews I've seen saying that it tastes different. It doesn't have that champagne taste. So far, at some of the a few times I have bought PBR, and here what the beer looks like, as you can see. The few times I bought it and I've tried it, it tastes the same to me. I haven't noticed any difference. So, but now here I am today. I'm about to do a review to see if there's any difference of it. And so, see what the beer looks like right here. 4.7% ABV. They got Pabst Light, which is out now. And I was watching a couple of videos. Well, the videos I've watched was Ronald J. Terrio's video, his solo review, and then the one that he did with David Garlipe, who is usually his tag team partner when they do a lot of duo reviews of beer. So they said it was a little lighter, a little heavier, a little bit this, a little bit that, you know. Who knows? But here it is, what it looks like. Smells like PBR to me, as it always has. Now, one of the differences I say about PBR is just the champagne taste that I always got, like a little wine sort of flavor in the end. So let's see if it still has it. All right, let's have it. Cheers. It's still a slight sweeter. There's a little of that wine taste in there on the aftertaste, but it isn't bad. I mean, it still tastes like PBR to me, you know. I think right now, I've seen it at a couple of stores I've gone to here, a couple of package stores. You know, it all depends. The one sign will say the La Crosse, Wisconsin, that's City Brewing. And on the can, you'll see St. Louis. Depends on how long they've made it. Now, they believe that agreement began this year, where AB is producing the beer. Again, I reiterate, AB does not own PBR, so I'm going to keep saying that. It's not no ownership. They just brew the beer. Sometimes that's always been the concern when a company buys another company or whoever is brewing. Will the recipe change? Will things get different? You know, the recipe still tastes the same to me. It still has that little champagne quality to it. You know, it still tastes like PBR. I've noticed no difference. Everyone says they've noticed a difference. I haven't. And I think that's the concern with these breweries. And I think they know that, hey, listen, make sure our beer it tastes like it does when people go buy it. You know, we don't want any changes. And they usually tend to follow the recipe. So yeah, guys, I don't notice any difference with this. I just think it's still a good, refreshing lager. Very affordable. Again, 6-pack I buy for $5.99 or $6.99, depends, or 12-ounce cans. I haven't seen tall boys of it, but of course, the tall boy 25-ounce can that I'm drinking right now. So, yeah. So just when they make these agreements, folks just understand it's nothing personal. It's just, hey, we just want to keep our beer, whatever brewed, and it's, you know, we're not making changes. But of course, it wouldn't shock me where things are going right now that if it were to be a merger, if there were to be an agreement or a bought out or buyout, and have Pabst said, hey, we're done, let's just whatever. We'll just, you know, y'all can take over our operation or whatever. So, but right now, I think they're holding strong as they are. Again, their offices, I believe, still in Milwaukee, but I think one in LA and San Antonio. I think most of their operations is being done out of, their business operation, I should say, offices in San Antonio, Texas. So, but again, different breweries, they'll brew their beer. Could be, well, I don't think they will do it at City Brewing, but you know, St. Louis, or any of the AB-InBev breweries throughout the country. I think the Big 12. So, all 12 of them. And Milwaukee, Wisconsin, that'll be the closest one. Here in New Jersey, probably the AB-InBev in New Jersey. If we get PBR, they brew it here. They probably brew it at the Newark location here where I'm at, New Jersey. So, that's one of the original 12 breweries of AB-InBev. But I don't know, guys. I mean, maybe if y'all have tried it, you've noticed a difference. I haven't. Again, maybe the champagne taste is probably is still there, but not as much as it was previously. But overall, still always been a winner to me. So yeah, no difference I haven't seen. So anyway, that's it. I reviewed it. So Pabst being brewed in St. Louis. I'll post a video, and again, no difference really. But yeah, always a winner for me. I'm gonna go 9 for the beer. Yeah, 9. So this is an A-. Pabst Blue Ribbon, brewed in St. Louis now. Maybe brew some other or any of the other 12 AB-InBev breweries across the country. So check it out. Award-winning beer, great beer, classic, old school as it gets. Legacy beer. Hold on to these. It may be gone before you know it. So, John and Pierre at the Beverage Ramble. Keep on watching as always. Cheers. Live, laugh, and love. PBR, PBR, PBR. Brewed in St. Louis. But it's still a good beer. Yeah.